Look around. Every single day, millions of us wake up to a blaring alarm, sit in absolute gridlock traffic, and grind away for 8 to 10 hours, just for a paycheck. Then, we come home, totally exhausted, rinse and repeat. People do this for 40 years. It's an endless daily grind just to survive the week. I mean, it's honestly exhausting just thinking about it, isn't it?
But despite all that exhausting effort, you've got to ask yourself, why are 70% of people just one single emergency away from total ruin? We're talking one medical bill, a busted car transmission, or a sudden layoff away from absolute financial disaster. So is it because people just aren't working hard enough? No, definitely not. The truth is way deeper than that. The modern economic system wasn't actually built to make you wealthy. It's meticulously designed to keep you just rich enough to keep working, but poor enough so you never actually escape.
Okay, let's dive into this explainer and pull back the curtain. That 70% statistic, that represents adults right now in the US and the UK living paycheck to paycheck. It's a staggering, shocking number. So today, we're going to dissect these silent financial traps that are keeping 90% of society permanently broke. And much more importantly, we'll look at how you can finally break the cycle.
Section 1. The psychological trap. To understand the mechanics of this system, we really have to look at the mind first. We're starting with the most dangerous trap because it's entirely psychological. It's a behavioral loop that practically guarantees you stay broke, literally no matter how much your income actually grows over your lifetime.
It's called lifestyle inflation, or sometimes you'll hear it called the hedonic treadmill. Basically, it's a loop where your expenses rise at the exact same speed your income does. Society completely conditions us to think that earning more money means we instantly deserve nicer things. But really, when you get that massive promotion, falling into this trap just means you're funding a much more luxurious version of being broke. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how it happens. Think back to your first job. You probably managed just fine on a small budget in a shared apartment, driving a beat-up old car, eating cheap meals. But then you get that big promotion, right? Your income doubles. Suddenly, the old place just isn't good enough anymore. So you upgrade to a luxury condo, you lease a brand new vehicle, and you start eating out at premium spots. Society tricks us into instantly spending every new dollar we gain just to maintain this illusion of elevated status. You aren't actually getting richer. Your expenses just sprinted to catch up with your new paycheck.
We really need to pause here and just let this sink in. True wealth is invisible. Wealth is the money you don't spend. It's not the shiny leased car in the driveway or the massive house. It's the assets you own, the investments quietly growing in the background, and ultimately, the freedom to completely control your own time. When you instantly spend everything you make just to project status, you are the one locking the doors to your own financial cage. Section 2. The normalization of debt. So that leads us right into the mathematical traps that keep that cage locked tight. And the biggest one by far is how the Western world has completely and utterly normalized borrowing your way through life.
Albert Einstein famously called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. He said, "He who understands it, earns it. He who does not, pays it." That is incredibly profound, because right now in our modern debt-driven economy, 90% of the population is firmly stuck in the camp of paying it.
We're relentlessly pushed into credit cards, personal loans, and those buy now, pay later schemes. And when you just carry minimum balances on those high interest rates, you aren't just paying the retail price. You're paying double, maybe triple for that item over time. See, banks don't actually sell loans. They sell the illusion that you can have tomorrow's rewards today. And when you take that deal, you're literally forcing your future self to work hours you haven't even lived yet just to pay off stuff you probably didn't even need.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the exact difference in how debt is utilized. It's a complete divergence in strategy. Wealthy people use debt as a tool to buy assets that generate cash flow. On the flip side, poor and middle-class people use debt to buy liabilities that actively drain their cash flow. It's the exact same financial tool, but applied with entirely opposite consequences.
Section 3. Trading time for dollars. Beyond debt, we have to talk about the fundamental flaw in how 90% of us generate income in the first place, directly trading your physical presence for a paycheck. Let's break down the cold hard math of this model. If your only source of income requires you to be physically present at a job, your earning potential is mathematically capped. It honestly doesn't matter if you have a huge hourly wage or an impressive annual salary. There are only 24 hours in a day. You're trading a strictly limited resource for money, which means your wealth generation has a hard, unbreakable ceiling.
To break that ceiling, you've got to understand the one concept the school system completely ignores, which is leverage. Leverage means building systems, investing in markets, or buying real estate that works for you while you sleep. A traditional paycheck acts almost like a paralyzing drug. It gives you this temporary 2-week dose of security, but it totally numbs your ambition to build something permanent. Without leverage to make money while you sleep, the math simply dictates that you're going to work until the day you die. Section 4. Assets versus liabilities. So if we need to build leverage, where do people go so wrong? Well, this brings us to a massive middle-class trap, deeply confusing liabilities with assets. And the most glaring, widely accepted societal norm of this is buying a primary residence. So, the crucial point is grasping this incredibly simple, yet widely misunderstood distinction. An asset is just something that puts money into your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. That's it. That is the entire litmus test. Let's apply that cold math to a 30-year mortgage on a primary residence. For generations, we've been told buying a house is this amazing investment. But look at the actual cash flow here. You have a mortgage taking money out. Property taxes, negative cash flow. Insurance, negative. Constant maintenance, negative. Unless you have rental income coming in, which for a primary residence is zero, your home is objectively a liability. It is taking money out of your pocket every single month. And the real danger here isn't just that monthly drain, it's the opportunity cost. Tying up all your available capital into a massive mortgage completely prevents you from investing in things that actually grow and generate cash flow, like businesses or stocks. By the time that 30-year mortgage is finally paid off, you have totally missed out on the prime years of true market compounding. Section 5, from consumer to owner. Okay, we've outlined the grim reality of these traps: lifestyle inflation, toxic debt, trading time for money, confusing liabilities for assets. But breaking free doesn't require a miracle. It just requires a systematic shift in your strategy. We need to pivot from being merely consumers in this economy to becoming owners. Let's move to and see how this builds into a really clear 2-step formula for that systematic shift. Step 1, widen the gap. When your income grows, freeze your lifestyle immediately. Do not go buy the nicer car. Take that extra cash and aggressively kill your high-interest debt. Step 2 is a total mindset shift. Stop focusing on buying things and shift your entire focus to buying back your time. So how exactly do you buy time? You take those savings from widening the gap and you pour them into avenues that create asymmetric returns. The source material highlights specific things like index funds, dividend stocks, digital real estate, or even investing in high-value skills. These are the systems that will actually work for you while you sleep. This is how you stop being a mere consumer and transition into an owner who commands true leverage. Ultimately, this journey to financial freedom, it isn't fast and it sure isn't easy. It fundamentally requires you to sacrifice temporary societal status for permanent individual freedom. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one incredibly powerful ultimatum. Will you choose to just look rich today, or will you do what it actually takes to become wealthy tomorrow? The choice, and the freedom that comes with it, is entirely yours.